I'm Jess Griffith. I'm 32 years old and I stayed as a councillor for 2 years. I am now a mum and I'm a social researcher by profession. So I went from here back up to London and worked for a political think tank. Yes, definitely. I'm bound to say that. When I was a councillor, I was the only person under about 50 in the council, although maybe some of the other councillors will tell me off for saying that now. I think that's true. So I was pretty outnumbered in terms of influence and in terms of getting things done and giving different perspectives. Well, for that reason, but mainly I think because in an area like this, certainly, there are so many young people who are kind of hidden away out of the community and don't get their perspectives passed on in terms of local government. And in a situation like you've got now, where so much money is about to be cut, there's going to be a lot of decisions made about what gets funding, what doesn't get funding, and if the people who are representing everybody are only of a certain demographic or are all over 50 or 60, then I think it's likely that certain perspectives will get lost. I don't mean that people of different ages can't represent each other, of course they can. I didn't only look after people who are under 30 in my constituency. But you necessarily have a different life experience, different viewpoint, different attitudes, mixed with different people. Just see the whole area from a different view, and I think that's really important. Well, I guess as I've said, a bit different viewpoints, certainly, a bit of enthusiasm, just to shake things up a bit, really. I mean, when I joined the council, it was completely different for there to be someone of my age just even being in the council chamber. And the questions I asked and the thoughts I had about how life was in West Somerset and what mattered definitely were different. And it did I think it made some of the other councillors start to think about the judgments that they make and the way that they made the decisions they were making. So I think it is really important. In the same reason it's important to have, men and women on the council and people with different backgrounds, and you don't want everyone to be a professional, you don't want everyone to be a school teacher or everyone to be a farmer or whatever else. I think the more mixture you have, the better. A bit of both, I think, in the same way that I listened to their views and sometimes ignored them and went with what I'd thought, or sometimes took them on board, sometimes moderated my views and so on because of what they were saying. I think as with any discussion, any forum like that, any democracy, people bounce ideas off each other. And I certainly don't think it's the case that they just dismissed what I said. But no, I think it definitely made a difference. And things, places like, this building, Minehead Eye, wouldn't be here if we hadn't had people of my age and peers of mine, working really hard and saying to the council, this is the kind of thing we need. So, filming this in a building like Minehead Eye is really proof that having young people involved in local politics and standing up for what they think definitely can really, really change things in quite a considerable way. I became a councillor because I was irritated by the way politics was run in this area. I had been involved a lot in the campaigns to prevent the council offices being built on this site, and what was then an attempt to prevent an ASDA being built where Morrison's now is. And I had got really fed up with being told what to do and how things should be and having the decisions made about the area and about the way West Somerset should be by people who were nothing like me. And I'm the kind of person who thinks that you should just get up and do something if you're complaining about it, so I did. And was just lucky enough really to be elected in my ward in Old Cleve. I'm really, really, really glad I did it. And I learnt a huge amount about how to deal with people and how to get things done, and I think it did make a bit of a difference. And I think things in West Somerset Council are different now than they were when I arrived. Not all to my credit, of course, but certainly there were some changes that came about because of it. So I guess in some ways the reasons I did it did come true in the end. I faced a lot of resistance. Not really, well, partly because of my age, but mainly just because I was pretty argumentative, and I didn't want things to be done in the way they had always been done. So I faced a reasonable amount of resistance from the kind of people who'd been on the council for many, many years, who thought that things should always stay the same. I definitely faced a challenge in terms of balancing everything in my life, in terms of trying to fit in having a job and going to meetings. And I faced some challenges in terms of people. One of the wonders of being a councillor is that you do actually have to represent the people in your area, so people ring you up with all kinds of problems. Yes, I would do it again. Obviously, if I did it again, I'd have my eyes a bit more open and I'd know what I was getting into. I think that would be better. Also, if I did it again, as I said before, the council is younger in a way now. There are other people who are, you know, at least under 40, if not quite considerably younger. So I think it would feel less like I was kind of breaking the mould, and less like I was the guinea pig. And in that sense, doing it again would be easier now. I definitely would do it again. I really, really enjoy it.